Yo, what's going on, guys? I'm Moxie Infernape, and this is my battle and team builder for week 4 of season 2 of the CPC D-League. This week I'm going up against L5 and his Oakland Roseraiders. So last week, if you did not check that out, I do recommend that you do, because it was a close game, but we did actually lose to Shy and his Minnesota Mimikyus. It was really close. It came down to some 50-50s and some tough calls that I got wrong. But it was 1-0, it was really close. His Alexander and Infernape were able to pull through a late game versus like my Scizor and Dragalchi and stuff. So, you know, it was a close game though. I feel like I prepped and played well. Maybe made some small misplays or two. But I feel like I prepped and played well, as I said. So this week, playing L5, as I said. So, you're 2-1 going into this game, and I think he's 1-2. So I'm hoping to pick a win and pick up from this slack from last week and get ourselves back on the right track. So if I can get a win here, if I can get a win here, then I can get back to 3-1 and be on the right track. But another loss would really would just kind of suck, and then would ruin that good start I had. So L5's team. So it's got Kieran Black, Gren, Mega Scizor, Volcarona, Archeops, Swampert, Clefable, Jolteon, Hitmontop, Hypno, and Vileplume. So this is the order I expect his team. Here the 6 I expect being Kyurem, Gren, Mega Scizor, Volk, Archeops, and Swampert. His Z users are Support, Kyurem, so you can run Z-Hail, D-Fusion Bolt, whatever, and then offensive is Z, Archeops. I could see like a Scarf Archeops this game. And then, I mean, really, like, the only mon... I mean, I could maybe see Jolteon, but I think Clef could come too. I don't really see the back 3 of these coming. Maybe, I don't know, like, Vileplume and Sun could do something, but I don't know, I feel like he's better mons to bring, in my opinion. And then, he really likes Volcarona, he really likes Kyurem, and really likes the Swampert. He's brought all 3 of those, those 3 mons in all 3 games so far. And then, like, Mega Scizor he's brought twice, and Clef and Gren he's brought twice, I think, so. Definitely could see those mons coming. And then, like, Archeops, I don't think he's brought yet, but I think Scarf Archeops makes a lot of sense. Because they can check my Mega Houndoom, and can just, like, pivot and be annoying, and pretty good versus my team. But I mean, if I get rocks up, and then, like, I do have some Bullet Punch users in Hariyama and Scizor, so, I don't know, there are reasons for it not to come. That's why it's 5th and not, like, 1st. But, let me go over my team. So, first off, we got a Banded Scizor, so Bullet Punch, U-Turn, Air Release, and Thief. So, enough speed just to, like, creep and no speed Hitmontop, I think. I figured, I'm not really sure what the Mega Scizor is gonna have in terms of speed. And also, I mean, I'm kind of okay without slowing it, because if we both click, if we're both, trying to pivot and we both click, the U-turn there, then, you know, I would like to do a blast, and then, you know, he could go for it, and then bring in whatever, I go for it, and then I bring in whatever to counter what he brought in. So, you know, I'm good with getting off the slower U-turn there. And then just in case if Hitmontop comes, I can maybe 2KO that thing with Air Release, if I predict a switch properly. But, I mean, really the main 2 moves, and we need are the first 2 moves. Air Release is just kind of there to hit Hitmontop if I need it, or mainly, to hit Volcarona if he thinks that he can set up on me. And I think will Oko Volcarona. Yeah, it should. Volcarona's not super bulky. I mean, if he's like a bulky Vulcan, he could probably whip one, but Technician boosted Banded Air Release should be doing a lot, or Oko and Volk. And then Thief is just good generic coverage for kind of everything in general. Like, it hits like almost everything on his team. Like, he has a couple of resistances in Gren and Clef, and then on top, I guess. But if Gren's weakened and then the Clef is either weakened or not there, then I can click Thief pretty freely and, I don't know, do good chunks of stuff. And probably won't really be clicking that. I mean, I maybe could have carried Iron Head instead, but I mean, he's a lot of switching to steel moves like Gren, like Swampert, like Scizor, so I figured Bullet Punch is better there anyways. And I don't really need dual steel stab. So next I got my Scarf, Lando, Rock Slide, EQ, U-Turn, and Stealth Rocks. I'm running Rocks just because I don't have another Rock that I'm bringing this week. I could have Celebi or Steelix potentially, but I don't really like Celebi's matchup when he has Kieran Black, Mega Scizor, potentially Archeops, and then, like, Gren can Dark Pulse U-Turn. He's got a lot of reasons for my Celebi not to come. It's nice for Swampert, but outside of that, it doesn't do a whole lot. It can maybe be something cool for Celebi, or for Clefable to help me there, but it just doesn't do a whole lot, and I need a lot of coverage and a lot of moves to be able to check, or at least not be totally scared out by a lot of mons that can come in on Celebi. So the Lando set here, it does have Rock, as I said. Rock Slide, I don't really need Stone Edge. Rock Slide still Volcarona for good enough damage. EQ is pretty easy to spam versus his team. His only immunity is Archeops, I think. Double check. Yeah, only Archeops. So I can spam it versus everything else, and I don't think he has a resist because his bug type is also part steel and his grass type is part poison. So it's pretty free to click versus his team. Doesn't 2KO like Clef or like a really bulky Mega Scizor, but if they're weakened, I can still clean up late game if everything is in range of EQ, and it doesn't take too much, especially with my hazard support. I mean, I don't know if I'll be able to get up rocks to help for Kyurem and Archeops if that comes. But even if like Archeops does come, if Swampert's gone or like really low, then the Rock Slide could be pretty free to click versus his team too. It hits Archeops, hits Volcarona, it hits Kyurem, and if Mega Scizor is gone or really low, then I can knock that thing out too. Then I can just pivot there, and that's really nice. The speed is for if his Jolteon is creeping my Zebstrika, or if his Gren is creeping my Zebstrika, which is the fastest amount of my team, then I'm creeping that Jolteon or Gren, because they hit 365, so I hit 366 with my Scarf. And then that allows me to carry a good amount of speed and also be adamant and max attack, or a good amount of bulk, sorry. I'm pretty bulky here, which is nice. And then a max attack just to hit as hard as possible. Next got my Mega Houndoom, Dark Pulse, Flamethrower, Hipfire Rock, Sucker Punch. Enough speed for the base 110s. Yeah, Archeops, that's it. I thought he had some one bait. I thought he had one Pokemon at base 110 speed, and yeah, it is Archeops. So Dark Pulse, Flamethrower hits pretty much everything on his team. If I were in Swampert, I could have carried Hidden Power Grass, but I want to be able to hit Volk. I mean, if he has a boost, then he'll be able to outspeed me anyways, and Hidden Rock doesn't matter too much. But I mean, if I can let it hit, because he might not be able to carry coverage hit Houndoom super hard, then Hidden Power Rock could still be helpful there. Or if he doesn't have any boosts, which I might be able to stop him from getting boosts, which I'll go a little more into later with one of my later mons. So if I can just check that thing with a nice Hidden Power Rock, that could be really cool. You might expect Hidden Power Grass, so you might think as Volk can take a Dark Pulse, but if I can whip out Hidden Power Rock and then surprise the Volk, that could be really helpful. Then Sucker Punch is nice if Volk has a boost, or to help deal with any Scarfers or mons that have passed for them. You like Scarf Archeops, like Jolteon, Gren kind of, but I don't hit it super hard. The Sucker anyways, and he could have Shuriken, but I don't want to lower my defense or my speed F, so that's why I'm still timid, because I want to, if I need to, I want to take like a special hit from Volk, or like a physical hit from Mega Scizor. So I want to keep my bulk there, because, I mean, base 90 is pretty good naturally, so I don't want to lower that if I don't have to, and I still have, 68 invested in my attack to help boost my Sucker Punch a bit at least. Next got my Assault Vest Hariyama, Fire Punch, Close Combat, Fake Out, Rock Tomb, so it's just pretty much max attack, max HP. Enough speed def, so I think I can live a +1 Life Orb Psychic from Volcarona after I take rocks. I don't know if that scenario will happen, it could maybe. I'm not sure if it'll be Life Orb, but I do expect Psychic because that allows him to hit my Dragalge and my Hariyama, which otherwise can actually be pretty nice checks to Volcarona, so Psychic makes a lot of sense for him to bring. And the Volcarona is not one of his Z users, only Kyurem and Archeops can, so that's pretty nice, but then again, it's kind of scary because he could carry something like a Charty Berry, or maybe even a Life Orb just for additional power, or Lefty, so help him gain back some health, so I don't know, it's kind of scary in a different way. I mean, Z-Volk is definitely very scary, but I think it's a little overrated just because having that slot to carry some item could be really helpful, I think. Like a Charty is really nice since that allows you to set up on almost anything. So Fake Out's really nice because that allows me to chip down stuff like Gren, like maybe Kyurem, especially if I can get them poisoned, because I do have T-Spikes in my my boy here, Dragalge. So if I can get a lot of things poisoned, then Fake Out could be really helpful there. Or just getting off any chip damage versus like anything could be really nice, especially if Volcarona is still around. If he's really low, I can maybe click Fake Out and just knock that thing out, which could be really helpful. Fire Punch is nice for Mega Scizor. That way that thing cannot just switch in and check me. And if it's set up, then if it's like a Sword Sense variant, then I will not allow him to set up for free. Close Combat is really nice for most things, and Rock Tomb helps me hit Volcarona, as originally I did have Heavy Slam to hit Clefable, but I thought Volk was more likely to come, and I felt like Volk was pressuring me more immediately than Clef, so I can't really hit Clef super hard. I would have liked to carry Heavy Slam. Maybe I could have carried it over Fake Out, but I like having Fake Out, as that allows me to deal with some other things better, and I don't know, maybe I didn't need it, but I feel like having Fake Out's just nice to get chip damage on stuff, which I need for my Lando, or, I mean, mainly Lando. That's really the win con late game, and I mean, Lando is helped by my Houndoom and by my Scizor, because those two really weaken stuff that I could check it, like the Swampert, and also they allow me to pressure things like his Scizor, which I need weakened too. and like his Clef as well. So these three offensive mounts pair pretty well, and then these three in the back are pretty bulky. Like they're not walls by any means, so they all still hit fairly hard, but they're just kind of bulky pivots, which is really nice. So that was Hariyama. So also has Stick That, by the way, to take like fire hits from bulk. So next we got Tapu Fini, mainly for his def, got a little bit of Spadef there. Moonblast, Surf, Taunt, Haze. The speed is just like to creep Megazord a bit, I think. Like if he wants to creep me, I have a little bit of speed on top of that. The defense is, I think, enough to live like 2 life or gunshots from ground. Or no, I think I was investing in Spadef and the rest in Fizdef, which is almost max. I think so. I could take like a Giga Drain from like Life or Bulk after I take Rocks if he's at +1. I want to say. I think that's it. And I can hit him back with a Haze and then get rid of Stat Boost and then hopefully make him kill me. And then he will not be at +1 and I can bring him my Make Houndoom and check him with the Empire Rock, or bring him Lando, check him with Empire with Rock Slide or EQ, which is really nice. But yeah, a dual stab hits pretty much everything. I could have carried Empire Fire. Originally I had that over Taunt, but I feel like Taunt itself will help me deal with Clef, and while this thing might not be able to beat Clef exactly because I don't have Nature's Madness, and I mean, I can still keep it low and stop him from healing, which is going to be very nice and very helpful for my Lando to clean up late game. So this thing might not be able to beat Clef, and Clef can get off good damage or just kill Fini, which is annoying, and I would like to keep Fini around as long as possible. But I can get off damage on Clef, keep that thing low, which is really, really nice. As well as it can kind of check any one mon on his team. Now, for it to properly check that one mon, it's going to probably take a lot of damage, and then it's really not going to be able to check like any other mon on his team. So it's, I don't know, I'm going to have to really play carefully with Fini in this game, because like early in the game he might try to bring in Kieran Black or Gren or something to weaken me, and then like I can live a hit and take them on, and maybe knock them out or get them really low, but then I have my Fini really low, so I'm going to have to really try to keep Fini around if I think I need it, which I probably will, so that'll be tricky. I'm also with like the Mega Scizor. I could carry Empire Fire for that, as I said, but Taunt also helps me there, because I can still keep him low and stop him from Roosting or Sword Sensing, so that's not a huge deal. That thing can't pressure me too much immediately, like Bullet Punch does a little bit, but not too much. Next we got my, we got an interesting set here on my Bewait Dragology. So holding the item here, this will allow me to pivot out, like, so it's mainly meant for like Jolteon to Volt Switch me or Greninja to, if he wants to pivot on me, then I can switch out of whatever into this, and then instead of him pivoting off the Volt Switch or a U-turn from Gran or Arceus or Scizor, then I will actually get a pivot out, so that mon will stay in, and then I will get to bring in, like, whatever, like, if he has Jolteon in, I can bring in Lando, if he has Grenin, I can bring in, maybe Fini, or maybe Hariyama, so that's really nice. Then the coverage allows me to hit really everything, Empire Fire for Scizor, Sludge Wave, Dragon Bolts, it's pretty much everything else. I can't carry Empire Grass because, I have Empire Fire, obviously, so I would have liked to carry Empire Grass for Swampert, but I can still weaken that thing down. Like, everything on my team does some decent damage to Swampert. I don't really have a great way of pressuring Swampert immediately, but I can get off some damage with something, and then once it's low, then it doesn't do a great job of switching into things. Just max, because well, partially because I was a little lazy to calc or something, but also I don't really think I needed to calc for any certain attack or combination of attacks, because I felt like just being bulky naturally, and then hitting as hard as possible was nice. And then Toxic Spike's really cool because I can poison almost everything on his team. I can poison everything barring Mega Scizor, Archeops, and Vileplume. I'll still poison Clef. And then I'll get to see if it's Magic Guard or Unaware, so that could be nice. I think he'll be Magic Guard, but he could maybe be Unaware if he's fearing like Nasty Bot Doom or like SD Lando or some setup Celebi or something, so he could be Unaware. I don't think so. I think Magic Guard makes a little more sense, but definitely has some reason to be unaware. But yeah, that is the team there. So let's get into the battle in just a second. Alright guys, so I'm back with the battle, as you can see here. So I brought the 6 that I just went over, and then he's bringing the Volcarona, Mega Scizor, Kieran Black, Greninja, Clefable, and Swampert. So mainly what I expect there. Brings everything that I expected. But did not bring Archeops. He brought the Clefable instead, which makes sense. Clef does some things to help versus Mega Houndoom, helps versus Lando as his probably physically offensive, helps versus Fini to an extent, helps versus Hariyama, and like Celebi too, which I didn't bring. It makes sense why I brought Clef. I thought Archeops could be cool, but he hasn't brought it yet this season, so it makes sense. So I'm just gonna lead with my Hariyamas. I can look Fake Out versus whatever, and if he does lead Clef, I can bring in my probably either Scizor or Dragalge, I'm thinking. Now, I mean, if I do switch into, well, actually not. That scenario did not happen since it's not leading left, so I'm just not gonna talk about that because I'm not gonna talk about that hypothetical because that didn't happen. So, anyway, so I click Fake Out turn 1. We see that he does not have lefties. Looks like he's max Fizdef or close to it. So he goes for Rocks turn 2. Does outspeed me as I thought he would, which is fine because then I won't have my defenses dropped in that first CC. So I'm gonna click CC. I do 49% there, which is pretty nice. So that shows like he's not max Fizdef. It's probably near, but I might have got like a kind of high roll, which wasn't a huge deal. But he's probably Rendo, judging that he's not lefties and not Rocky Helmet, so probably Rendo, but I'm not certain here. So here I make a pretty aggressive play. So I figure he's gonna want to go into Clef here because Clef's a pretty free switch, and he's seen 2 of my moves, and he might think that I have Heavy Slam, but I do a Fire Punch and Rock Tomb in my last 2 move slots because I want to hit Scizor and Volcarona. So he might think that and that I don't have Heavy Slam. So I mean, even then I wouldn't go for Heavy Slam here because I need to knock out Swampert. So I thought he'd want to go into Clef because that's a pretty safe switch, and you know he might want to get up his rocks again later in case if I do have Defog on Scizor or Feeny. I don't have Defog on either, but he does not know that. So he might want to keep Swampert around for later. So I actually go into my Scizor thinking he'll go and do his Clef, and I can go for free U-turn the following turn. But actually just stays in. So he goes for EQ, does a chunk, and that was, I don't know, didn't work out for me. That wasn't the worst for me because I mean I wanted to keep Scizor as healthy as possible. If I needed it, like to take a hit from maybe Duran, maybe Kyurem, or like Scizor, or Clef. But that's okay though, because I can still switch into a Moonblast from Clef and pressure that thing out, and that wasn't terrible because I'm still at an okay range of health, and U-turn can still knock this thing out, and if he wants to switch into Scizor or whatever, that's fine, I can pivot off of that. But he does stay in just Cyclops Swampert, so from that damage you can see that I'm banded, so he knows that now, but I was able to pick up the kill anyway, so it was nice to get rid of Swampert, and I mean, I don't have Defog, so rocks are going to stay, but if I can get my rocks or T-Spikes later, or both, then that can help chip down his team and weaken down stuff like Volk and Kyurem and Gren. So here, I bring in Feeny, so because he doesn't have anything like amazing to check me immediately, so he brings in his Kyurem, which was probably the best play, probably the best thing he could have had to check me, maybe Clef. But, so here, since Kyurem is his Z user, I figured that he would want to go for you might want to go for a Z Fusion Bolt if he does have that. I mean, he'll definitely have Fusion Bolt, but I don't know if he'll carry a Z Crystal or a Life Orb or maybe Scarf. So I'm gonna actually go into my Dragalge here, thinking that he's definitely gonna click Fusion Bolt. He's not gonna click Ice Beam or Dragon Claw. That just doesn't really make sense. And because if I stayed in, which I could have, because I live any hit barring a Z Fusion Bolt, I think Banded. But I'm in Life Orb Fusion Bolt. I can still live. So I think it was pretty certain that he would not be able to click Dragon Claw or Ice Beam here. So I go into my Dragon here as he goes for the Fusion Bolt, and that does a little bit, and he has Life Orb. So we see that it's not Z Crystal, and that damage shows that he's doesn't have much attack investment, probably max special attack. So we get to scout us out there a bit. So I think I bring in Hariyama here. Yeah, because I can take really any hit, like Ice Beam I can take because I have Thick Fat. Dragon Claw I can take because well, the terrain's up, so it really helps me take it. I mean, even if it wasn't, I could still take Dragon Claw, or I think an Outrage too, but the terrain is up, so that's really helpful. So I can just take really any hit here, so I think I actually make a double, predicting him to go into Clef, as that play just seems really obvious. Actually goes into Scizor. I mean, that makes some sense. I guess he could Scout for Empower or for Fire Punch the following turn, but he'd probably have to go into Clef to Scout for Fire Punch anyway, so I thought, why not just go into Clef in the first place, but whatever. So he brings in Scizor on my switch here, so I can take any one hit from this thing, most likely, unless if it has, I don't know, but Aerial Ace, I don't think Aerial Ace even will knock me out. I don't know why he would bring it. So I can pretty much take any one hit from this thing, as he does Mega and clicks U-turn, does a little bit, but that damage shows that he probably has like no attack or very little, so it could be Fizz Def. So I just go for Toxic Spikes here, as he could have Defog on Scizor, but that means he'll get rid of the rocks and mess up the field, so that could be helpful. And getting up Toxic Spikes could be helpful for Gran, for Kyurem, for Volcarona, possibly Clef. So I'm just gonna get up the T-Spikes here. I could have gone for like Impact Fire to get up damage, but I thought he wanted to switch out anyways. Or like he wouldn't still be in to take the Impact Fire anyways, so you know, there's no real reason to click that, because like Gran could have chewed Impact Fire, and Toxic Spikes were more helpful. I mean, yeah, the damage I get from T-Spikes were more helpful than damage from Impact Fire that I could have gotten here. So I think that was definitely the right play. So I just stay in to sack this off to Gren because I could have maybe switched into Hariyama, but I didn't really have a reason to keep that thing around, so I just sacked off my Dragology there. So I bring in Hariyama here as I can pressure this thing out, and what do? I think I click Fake Out just because I'm not certain if he's gonna stay in. I could have maybe switched out predicting Clef to come in, but I felt like that would have been a little risky, because I didn't really have a great I didn't really have a great play against Clef here, so, you know, I just click Fake Out in case we want to stay in. I can scout a set, like he might just try to go for Hydro, get off damage, or, nah, he probably just click U-turn if anything, but, he most likely doesn't have U-turn based on the fact that he didn't stay in there, although, I mean, I could still get off Fake Out damage, so, he might still have U-turn, but, he brings in Scizor on the Fake Out. I did 3.8%. Okay. Sorry, I was just, I remember during the battle, I thought it said it did 3% during the battle. I think it said 3% in the chat. So I was really confused as to why I did that little, because the calc showed it should have done, like, at least 3.7 or something. So, okay, never mind, sorry. I was really confused during the battle, because I thought it did less than if he was max, but now it shows that, it looks like I just got a low roll, which is whatever. A high roll would have done maybe 1%, whatever. So, he clicks, he clicks a U-turn there, which makes sense. He gets a crit, which is a little annoying. Not the worst thing, I guess, but that's just a little annoying as he gets off an extra, like, 8-ish%, so. And he brings in Clef to scout for Fire Punch here, as I do have to go for it, in case he wanted to maybe set up there. So here, I go into my Scizor, checking now I can take a Moonblast here. So if you wanted to just go for Moonblast there, which is very, he definitely might have done that. But he just clicks Calm Mind there, which makes sense too. So I click Bullet Punch here, thinking he might want to stay in his, because, he knows I'm banded, but he can take a Bullet Punch actually. And if he does want to stay in and live the Bullet Punch and then knock me out with Flamethrower, which I'm assuming he has, and I think he did. Actually, I don't know if we saw it. I forget actually, but, if he wanted to just stay in, then I could have gotten off the damage I would have needed for Lando. He does switch into Scizor, so, that didn't work out for me. But, I don't know, I felt like the play I made was still okay. Like, it made sense, and I didn't want to, if I did, if he did stay in, and I clicked U-turn, then I could have brought in maybe Houndoom on a potential Flamethrower, but he might have just been able to go for Moonblast there. I don't think a +1 Moonblast would kill. No, actually, I don't think a +1 Moonblast would kill, but I don't know. Yeah, I had to click Bullet Punch anyway, so that's what happened. So, I go into Lando on his U-turn, because I know he's gonna click that. I have no reason to stay in, even if, like, I know he's gonna go for that, but still, I can't stay in, because I'm doing, what, 14% of this. It's not really worth it, and I don't want more damage on Scizor. So I go into Lando on that. I want to keep Lando as healthy as possible, so I can maybe take a Shuriken from Gran. We did see Gran with Life Orb earlier. But, I think I can still most likely live 3 Water Shurikens from a Life Orb Gran after I take one more round of Rocks, so that is nice. He does not know my set yet, so he probably thinks he knows I'm kind of bulky based on that damage, assuming that he calced for that. But, I am Scarfed, which he will find out here, assuming that he's, like, max speed, or near max speed. As I click the U-turn there, as, he goes for Ice Beam, I think, yeah. I go into Hariyama to chew that because he's, oh wait, I just realized he has, Terror Bolts, that's why that did so much, because for a second, I thought, oh wait, Ice Beam should be doing less, but it breaks through thick fat, right? So, I just clicked Fake Out here. I thought he might want to switch into Clef, so I almost made a really aggressive play going into Scizor or Feeny, but I'm glad I didn't, as he probably just clicked Fusion Bolt there. Actually, nah, he could have just clicked Ice Beam, I don't know. It didn't matter, because I did Fake Out and he did stay in, so I did make the right play and not, it was right to not make a super, he was right not to switch, because I could have switched, predicting Clef, but I was right, because he didn't really need Kyurem for much more. Like, Lando was Scarfed, Scizor can Bullet Punch it, Hariyama still is Fake Out, Houndoom can outspeed it, and then, I guess it outspeeds Feeny and can get off damage, but it just didn't do a whole lot, and it was poisoned, and, they died to poison, plus 1 more Life Orb hit anyway, so I think that was definitely the right play on my end, and on his end, so, he brings in Clef here, which makes sense, so, I bring in my Scizor, I think, no, I bring in Feeny, predicting him to, yes, what's Scizor at? Okay, no, Scizor's still at 35, right? So, I bring in Feeny, predicting him to Calm Mind, as he does Calm Mind. So, I can just go for Haze this turn, get rid of his Calm Mind boost, which is nice. As he goes for Moonblast, I also see that this thing's Magic Guard. We saw that earlier, I think, but, we know it's Magic Guard, by the way, so that's cool. Doesn't really come into play, like, I don't get any stat boosts on him to take advantage of him not being unaware, but, he's match guard, so he's not taking poison, so that's the thing. So he clicks Moonblast. I click Surf in case we wanted to go in Scizor. I mean, Surf did a tad bit less than Moonblast, but that didn't really matter, so I click Surf just in case we wanted to go in Scizor, maybe, or maybe like Bulk. I don't know why he would, but it didn't really matter. So he goes Moonblast, so it gets us a Spatak drop, which is annoying, but I could taunt predicting him to soft boiled here as I get that right, so that's nice. So I keep this thing not low, but like at a decent range of health, but it's not super high, which is nice. So I go into my Scizor here, knowing that he's gonna have to click Moonblast. He's not clicking Flamethrower if he has it. I think he does. So I go into that, live a Moonblast, and I can click U-turn here. And if he stays in, I can maybe go into Feeny or like maybe Houndoom to take a hit, as he might want to go for a Flamethrower here. I mean, Moonblast does knock me out, so he might just go for that. But I think he'll want to switch because I could Bullet Punch and knock this thing out. As he does switch as I go for U-turn, so that's really nice for me. So I get to bring in Houndoom for free, and I get to kill something. Or he could go into Gren, which is at like 91, nearly full. Yeah, it's like nearly full. It took one life repair earlier, but it'll get poisoned, and then so it'll take like 35-40% from a Flamethrower here, and then like 12% from the poison. So Gren can be really low. So even if he does go into Gren, I mean he won't lose him on now, but that thing's getting really low, and then I sack off Scizor, and then he'll take more poison, and then So I do just click Flamethrower as he does grind into Clef, and I'm gonna be able to 2-KO that thing. So Houndoom's gonna be able to pick up another kill. Oh, sorry, I didn't want to like skip past where it killed Clef. I didn't think it would skip past the kill, but so I didn't even do that. But whatever. So in comes Grind after I kill Clef, which makes sense. So here I'm gonna sack on my Scizor because it's not doing a whole lot for me. It's gonna die to rocks, and I could have maybe brought in Hariyama, but having that Mon still around to fake out could be really helpful. So here, in hindsight, my play might have actually been to go right into Lando. Now he actually did not have Shuriken, so I could just run Lando, click U-turn, either knock this thing out, or if you want to go into Scizor, I could pivot. Probably sack this thing off, I think. But having the fake out around from Hariyama could have been helpful later, which you'll see could come into play versus Volcarona. So maybe I could have gone right into Lando there, but here I actually don't click fake out. So I think, he'll want to go into his Mega Scizor, because last time I clicked fake out, that thing took like 3%. So I figure if he stays in as I fake out does like 21 to 25, let's say like 23, and plus the 12 from poison. So he's taking 35 as opposed to going into Scizor taking 3 or 4. So I thought he'd go into Scizor as I'd make a pretty pretty risky play. I click Fire Punch. I'm not risky because like I didn't lose a whole lot. Like I lost some damage I could have got on Ren, but it is what it is. Like, I could have clicked fake out and done 35% more, and then because he'll still take poison here. Yeah, he'd be 35% lower because fake out plus the poison, so he'd be at like 21. But it doesn't really come into play though. My Feeny would still knock it out with the Moonblast, so it's whatever. No, actually, so let me actually go back because this turn is kind of big. This turn here, so I could have actually most likely lived a Water Shuriken. I could have lived 3 Water Shurikens from a Life Orb Ren, and we know he was Life Orb, so I could have stayed in, and I didn't really think he carried strong water move like Surf or Hydro, because I didn't think he really needed it. I thought he needed coverage like Ice Beam for Lando, and like for Galgi, and like Dark Pulse, Gunk Shot, and then maybe Spikes, maybe Taunt, maybe, oh yeah, and then Shuriken in the last, Shuriken would make sense, because Shuriken, Dark Pulse, Ice Beam, Gunk Shot, maybe U-turn on there, maybe Spikes, maybe Taunt, maybe T-Spikes, not T-Spikes, but I don't know, I didn't think he'd have a strong water move. Now, I could have stayed in, but I wanted to keep Houndoom as healthy as possible, because then it would have died to Bullet Punch from Scizor. So even if he didn't have a strong water move and he would not have been able to knock me out, then I wouldn't have been able to knock him out. So I was thinking about that turn for a while, but really it would have not really made any sense to stay in. So he did have Surf anyways, so it was definitely the right play not to stay in with Houndoom there. So here after Hariyama goes down to Gren, I bring in Feeny here because I'm fearing Shuriken. Now, a Life Orb Gunk Shot still has like a decent chance to knock me out. I forget what it was. I was at 45, so so I could have brought in Lando, and then I think Lando had a higher chance to live 3 Shurikens than Feeny did to live a Gunk Shot, to be fair. So maybe I should have brought in Lando and then click U-turn. And I think that was my play, because I wanted to keep Feeny around and didn't want it to potentially drop to a Gunk Shot. But I don't know. I'll talk about it more later. It could have mattered more later. So he glitched Taunt as I clicked Moonblast. So Taunt was a little interesting, and it actually was pretty smart though, because That allows him to bring in his Volcarona here and set up, and I have to click Surf. And also the terrain's up, so he's not poisoned from my Toxic Spike, which is annoying, and even when the terrain wears out, he still won't be poisoned. So, in that regard, I think I should have brought in Lando, considering that, because then if I brought in Lando, killed Ren, on my U-turn, then I would have brought in... No, at that point, if he... Yeah, okay, yeah. If I click U-turn, then I would have either knocked out Ren, and then brought in Houndoom, or if he won this as well, I would still brought in Houndoom. So, then the terrain would not be up, because I would not have brought him either. So, I think I should have gone to Lando in hindsight, but it is what it is. So, that taunt was actually really nice on his part, as I cannot spam Haze and then stop him from setting up, as I'm gonna have to click Surf. I do a chunk. So here, a +1 Giga I think will kill me, like, most likely, and if he does that Giga, then he can just kill Feeny, and then he can outspeed Doom and Bug Buzz. Or even like a +1 Flamethrower, I think if he's max special attack, I think still kills. Or like a Fire Blast. So, because I'm at 75 now, then minus 25 from the rocks. And then Lando dies to a fire move there, so if he has Giga Drain, this could be game here. So, I just click Surf again. I can't really switch out into anything else, it just wouldn't really make enough sense. I do have Sucker on my Houndoom, so I'm trying to get this thing into Houndoom range. So, he's at +2, so a Giga Drain definitely kills now, as so my taunt wears off, so I think I click Haze this turn. So we actually click Psychic, does not have Giga Drain, as I can live with Psychic, go for Haze, get rid of his stat boost. So that was actually really big. So no Giga was really nice for me. If he had Giga, he would have just won. So thankfully he did not. I thought it was game at that point, but he did not have Giga, so it was really helpful. So I Hazed there to get rid of all of his stats. So we're in an interesting scenario now. Now, I've seen Psychic and Quiver Dance, and then probably a Fire move. And then the last move, I'm thinking Bug Buzz. Could have been, I mean, it's not Giga, because he would have gone for it. I'm thinking maybe Bug Buzz, or, I mean, probably Bug Buzz, maybe Ember Ice for Lando, but, he actually does have Roost, which I don't think he shows, but that was interesting. I thought he won Giga. I thought, Giga Drain would make more sense in that slot, because he can't really hit a Feeny super hard. I mean, if he got damage on Feeny, which he could have with, like, anything else, then, Psychic would still kill me, if, like, he gets a +1. And I mean, like, his whole team can pressure my Feeny, so it makes sense in that regard, but I feel like Giga Drain was still better for this scenario, which he could have been in. But Roost actually could have helped him too. So here, I'm gonna click Haze, no, I clicked Surf, I think, this turn, because originally I clicked Haze, but then I canceled and clicked Surf, because my original idea was just to spam Haze, make him knock me out. As, if then he knocks me out, and I'm spamming Haze, not allowing him to set up, and I can bring in Houndoom, click in Power Rock, knock this thing out, and then he can bring in Scizor. I can knock everything out with Flamethrower and win. So that was my original idea. But here I figured, you know what, I mean, I can just click Surf, and even if he does Quiver, then he can live a Surf, be really low, and knock me out the following turn. And then I can bring in Houndoom, Sucker Punch, and that's fine. So he does click Quiver again here. So I click Surf, and I actually get the crit, which was pretty unfortunate for him. So without the crit, I don't think there's a chance I knocked him out. He would have lived on like 4 HP, or 4% or so. I think the max roll was like 38%. No, he was actually at 38.3% there, so not 39. So, if I got like a max roll, I might have been able to kill, not the crit, but I don't think so. So, that was pretty unfortunate for him though, so he could have knocked out Feeny, following turn Psychic, and then out of brought in Houndoom and click Sucker, but he actually had Roost, which, again, interesting, it was interesting. I mean, I thought Giga Drain would be kind of better, but I mean, he would have won either way with Giga Drain. I mean, Roost makes sense for this scenario. I don't know if he brought Roost predicting Sucker Punch from Houndoom, like in a scenario where he would be low health, and then to Roost on that. But Sucker Punching would not have really helped me versus him on the Roost. So, that would have been unfortunate. And I do have Fire Rock on Mega Houndoom, as I said, but yeah, he was actually Charty Berry on Volcarona. So, I think he would have won if I didn't crit there, but I mean, I don't know if Surf was the best play anyways. Like, I could have maybe, I think spamming Haze would have allowed me to maybe have a chance, like, because if it was just me clicking Haze versus just him clicking Quiver, I do have more Hazes and Quivers than he has Quivers. I mean, eventually at some point he'd click Roost, or maybe Psychic, probably Roost. And then, I mean, I could maybe taunt him at some points, and then maybe Surf at some point. So, I'm not certain on that. I think Surf was a bit of a misplay, but I didn't really predict Roost. I mean, I guess at that point, like, Bug Buzz didn't help him too much. I just thought he wanted a way to hit Houndoom a little harder. Because, like, Houndoom would have been able to actually live a Flamethrower from that range, because he was not max special attack. Granted, a +1 Flamethrower would have actually put me in range of Bullet Punch anyways, And then my Lando was scarfed, and he had like a max fist death scissor, so his scissor would have been able to beat my Lando most likely, that's why I got crits, but I was still kind of healthy, and he would have been at -1, so he would have had to go for Bullet Punch a few times, and have to roost a few times too, so you know, it's not guaranteed that Lando wouldn't beat Mix Scissor, but it probably wouldn't anyways, but regardless, so I'm just going to let the rest of the match play out. This is kind of long, sorry. The team builder was like 15 minutes, this is like 20, so sorry. But I'm just going to stay in with Fiend. I could have maybe gone to Scissor or gone to Houndoom to keep differential, but I didn't want him to like click U-turn and then Bullet Punch, because like that combo would knock out Houndoom, and then I think I would just lose to this. I was just playing it safe, whatever. I didn't really care. And I was talking in chat more so, like, cause also I wasn't really focusing on the game. I knew I could just win with Houndoom, so I didn't want to bring it in until I had to after sacking off Feeny. So I was talking in chat just to try to talk about hypotheticals and scenarios there, because that's when I mentioned I had Sucker and Dire Rock on Mega Doom. But I think he could have beat that if I didn't get the crit. But then again, it also depends. I mean, if I didn't click Surf, then it would have come down to what would have happened and who would have, I guess, eventually first changed their move, because if I spam Haze and he spam Quiver, which, I mean, eventually he would change his move, and I would change my move. Depends how that would work out. But, GG though, that's a pretty nice team he brought on your end though. The Volk was, again, interesting. I thought Giga would have made a little more sense, but I mean, Roost worked out in that scenario, I guess, or would have worked out in that scenario. The Charty Berry was really helpful though. I think, as I said earlier, I don't think Z-Volk is as good as people think, because, like, carrying an item, especially a Charty Berry, is really helpful, because that allows you to set up versus almost anything, while if you carry a Z-Crystal, especially if there are rocks up, then it's hard to set up, and then, like, if you are set up, then you're scarier, but it's hard to set up if you have a Z-Crystal. That's just my logic there. I couldn't get at rocks, which would have helped me versus Volcarona, but I mean, my Rockers didn't have the best matchups, and I had a Scarf Lando, which I really like Scarf Lando. And it would have been hard to get at rocks, because I still wanted to keep that thing pretty healthy too, to take a Shuriken for granted. She actually did not have Shuriken. He was dual stab with Gunk Shot and Taunt. So, you know, it is what it is. We do end up picking up a 2-0 win though. Mega Houndoom gets another 2 kills, Fiend gets another 2 kills, so they're really raising in the kill leaderboard. Mega Houndoom's at, I think, 7, Fiend's at 9, so that's really dope. Only 4 mods to see them gotten kills, being Scizor, Dragalge, Mega Houndoom, and Fiend though. Out of my other 7 mods, none of them have gotten a kill. But those 4 mounts have picked up all, I think, 23 of my kills. So GG though to L5. We are now 3-1. We're looking pretty good though. Next week we're playing, I think we're playing Volume in his Arizona Dactyls, I want to say. I believe that's who we're playing next week. I could be wrong. But that will come out next Tuesday, so you guys can get excited for that and watch it not. But yeah, I'll see you guys with Battle next week. Peace out.